Buddy, I've started up Tyranny, but I forgot to bring up the stream. So let me just make sure everything's working properly. It looks like it's fine. Cool. Still not getting an indicator on health though. All right, so I did have some trouble with my ISP earlier this afternoon, but I'm hoping you can hear the game, you just can't see it. Come on, you can do it. There we go. But yeah, so I had some trouble with the ISP. I'm hoping that was temporary and dealt with. At some point, I really do need to just find like a week where I'm going to be home and hope for the best with an alternative. But I mean, at this point here, right? I imagine one of the reasons Canadian Telecom is able to act the way that it does and charge what it does is sort of the knowledge that people don't have that as many options in terms of justly rewarding their behavior. Sorry, just 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Needed to send off a quick message. But yeah, we made it to Cacophony, so I'll do the usual summary of the missions and such. Sorry, I got completely sidetracked. So, yeah, the plan here. I'm expecting that we'll finish the game tonight. I'm not sure how long it will take me. If we get close to midnight, then I'm going to just have to run off and do my thing for a little bit. If it ends too early, that's a whole other question. But I will, I don't know, we'll figure it out. The best option is really just play the game. But what I'll do here is I will update the missions, I'll just kind of get the lay of the land, and then we will start mowing down Scarlet Chorus. But if you can just give me one more minute here. Okay, sorry about that. Wanted to try and be a little more put together for the start, but there you have it. So, we were planning on a slightly different order at the start, so we had a number of different tasks which kind of all seemed to converge on the disfavored, but based on the dialogue with Grave and Ash, we wound up on the assault on Cacophony, and everything else will follow. Tunon is also going to want to talk to us about our behavior, but I'll save that for I'll save that for the end, because that sort of strikes me as close to a finale for the game. We'll see. Alright, Call to Arms. Graven Ash has called all disfavored forces back to Iron Hearth to regroup before making a final push into Cacophony to defeat the Voices of Nerat. The path to the Voices of Nerat is barred by his lieutenant, Seven Toes. Kill the gang leader and clear the way.
I got it.
This is also a point I should start thinking about using the various this is where I should also start thinking about using my various potions and food and such. So let's actually take a minute to... Well, there'll be two things that I do. So one, we're going to get Barrick and the Fatebinder buffed.
I will aid you.
Now, what have we got here? We've got Potion of Protection, Potion of Invisibility, which isn't that special. I kind of get the impression that things like Skycap and all of that were probably intended for crafting at some point. But we don't seem to have recipes or anything like that. Okay, Fruit Water, Fatiguing Toxin, Blood Moss. I mean, I'm kind of curious if we can just stack all this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. So if we say use... That's got to be a little tedious. Yeah, alright, fair enough. Okay, and we can't, like, eat 100 things all at once. Good to know.
Affirmative. I will aid you. I am a
That's too slow. I really do need to find a better system here for my various skills.
You might learn something. You learn something.
Let's see if we can pin him to the ground too. So the funny thing about the Fatebinder is he's actually quite good at he's quite good at magic now.
I got it.
Wow. Alright. Say, I should have upgraded the spells a little sooner, I think. Let's work on the consumables again. So let's go for the things that give me 600 seconds, but we'll do it sort of in the I'm not going to distinguish that much. Sorry, I need to think of what I'm saying here. I'm not going to distinguish between the abilities. I'm just going to go sort of from the top of the list to the bottom, getting the consumable effects. Okay, for the Fate Binder, keep going for the lore. And we were going down the leadership path. So in this case... Sorry, union stuff happening with my coworker. Alright. So for leadership, point to a fallen ally and command them to rejoin the fight, swap positions. Call to battle, inspire a companion, granting bonus might, wits, and vitality. Once per combat, when your health becomes critical, nearby allies have their damage and quickness. And apply the lash, exhort a... Oh, this is cool. Exhort a companion to improve on the battlefield, granting... No, we'll say call to battle. Okay. So this does give me kind of an excuse to hustle. Just because we've got the... we've got the effects... That's the Fate Binder, so get Lantry to do his pit.
Can't do that.
Idiotic pathfinding. At this point, I'm just going to declare unforgivable and complain every single time about it, and I don't even feel bad anymore.
Consider it done.
You got it.
Will do.
You got it. Bleed out, you...
Will do.
Giant boulder? Nope, doesn't seem like a good idea.
Graven Ash protects.
Yeah, that multiple target effect, especially when you have a limited number of people, is slightly ridiculous.
I am out of practice.
Okay, we're gonna do our snack. Alright, that's gonna mess up the order, but I think I can remember what I did before.
But I'll try.
Again, absolutely Okay, at least this one was my misreading of the map. I was gonna say I was about to say unforgivable pathfinding again.
Sorry, I can't.
Graven ash let's have it.
As you command.
Alright, this seems like a good time for the stone spike.
I'm on it. You got it. Damn thing.
The concussive bolt on its just from its sound is pretty brutal. Okay, let's see if we can eat before we get to our next fight. Okay, apparently can't eat in combat. Let's try that again.
Oh, I think I'm seeing double.
Oh no, this is interesting. It says that the mead is suppressed. And it doesn't show up at all. Again, I kind of wish that this was better explained. I can sort of see why, because maybe the fact that I've already got another drink in me. Well, then I guess the question is, what is the... Maybe it's the fact that there's a +2...
I got it.
+2 effect active.
Another battle.
Okay. Not quite how I planned for this to go, but...
You do it. might learn something. I'll take care.
Damn it.
Damn thing!
I think my wisdom is finally catching up to my way.
Okay, I've been kind of neglecting verse here. I think my best option is to try and get her to sweep.
Need to try a different weapon.
Interesting. Okay.
I will aid you. I got it.
Consider it done.
Why can't I hit anything?
Wake me up when it's over.
Damn it!
I'll take care of it.
Damn thing couldn't pierce.
I'll take care of it. I need a drink.
Yes.
Okay, not exactly the sort of encounter I want to be going in with partial strength for, but the Archon of Secrets awaits you in Cacophony. End him. So before we go in, we will buff with food. This may actually be a good idea for me to save. Oh, it's another fight.
Let's have it then.
Oh, we do have the option to rest. Cool. We will... Ah, no. resting in the middle of the fight like that. I don't think that. It's not the way we do things here.
I got it. Waves.
Count on it.
At once.
Okay. I think I've lost... Oh no, Sweeping Death might work here.
On your knees, worm.
Scraps of food and cloth litter the floor of the tent. Okay. Enemies of the Scarlet Chorus who have not yet earned a spike are left to hang from the cliff wall until death comes for them. Should be able to chow down again. So this would technically be the first Archon we fight, and I'm guessing, the setup for all of this has been, a tough customer, so we'll see whether or not this takes more than one try. Sybil, once a defender of Echo Call Crossing, lies before you. It is difficult to tell where her fiery red hair ends and her injuries begin through the layers of blood. With all the wounds she has sustained, a good number of them appear to have been made after her death. Bodies of disfavored commanders are proudly displayed behind the voices of Nerat's throne.
Your campaign ends here, maggot of unreason. We have no intention of joining the uncounted corpses littered in your path. For all the fealty to the disfavored, has the Archon of War ever set you above his northern inbreds? No. He would have sacrificed you 10 times over to save some brain-dead grunt from stubbing his toe. We could have been magnificent together. But instead, we will have your bones fashioned into a scepter, your skin knotted into a belt, and your tongue fed to crows. At least crows know the meaning of respect and gratitude.
No feast today. Only your execution is decreed by the Court of Tunon.
You would bend the very laws of Kairos against me? It would appear even we have not seen all the ways this might unfold. Well played, Archon. It is a rare treat when we are actually taken by surprise. Your mind will go nicely with our collection.
Dozens of voices laugh in unison as the Archon brandishes his blade.
What an annoyance you turned out to be. Tunon's court has a long history of regurgitating only the most insufferable, conceited agents. You are no exception. And you won't be the first we've dispatched. Attend to us, darlings! There is more than one way to skin a Fatebinder, and we will show you as many as possible.
The voices of Narat readies to attack.
Come! Gather around and watch us destroy the Fatebinder!
Trouble is afoot.
Good final boss music. Oh god, I completely forgot that Barrack has a heal. So in this case, we want to hit him as hard as we can.
Have a look here.
And interrupt him as much as possible.
No!
And ideally not hit him with normal attacks until we are out. Perhaps a change of tactics is in order. Alright. So let's see what we've got here. Marked, frozen. I don't quite know what's happening here, but...
Perhaps a change of tactics is in order.
Okay, he will deliver his lines for himself. So he's currently dazed. Deliver a powerful... Yeah, no, we will launch him into the air.
Let's have it.
Don't you dare, Lantry. You've got more important things to do.
What is wrong with my weapon?
I got it.
Bleed out, you little Dead.
What could make this happen? Oh.
Okay, let's try... I don't want to pull... I don't want to peel away too many of my people to deal with ads.
On my command.
Okay, turns out we can't knock him over, but that's not the end of the world.
You got it.
I will aid you.
Okay. Part of this is just a question in terms of what the most appropriate abilities are at any one time. Okay, stunned isn't great.
Impudent wretch! Try that again. We dare you!
At once.
Had enough of us? How about a little more? You're going to...
Okay, I may need to peel off verse for this one. Or maybe the Fate Binder. Although the fact that they're close together is encouraging.
Ryu.
Okay, self-heal makes sense here.
At once.
You got it.
Cool.
You do. You... How is this even possible?
Apologies. As you command. At once. What? Ryu.
Approach us, you insignificant little morsel. We would have a word with you.
The Archon clutches at his robes, the tears of which shine with dim green flame. Say what you would, creature.
Whatever the thoughtless rabble may whisper about this moment, don't delude yourself into thinking you are powerful, that you matter, or that someone out there isn't greater still. We came from nothing. Our deeds defined us to the people, and the people knew us as a monster. Did you imagine we were always flames, voices, and secrets? Think on that. You Archon of misguided decisions.
I will heed your words, Archon.
At least you know the value of good advice. That will take you farther than any beaten trail, and it will bite deeper than any crude weapon of iron.
Something about this strikes the voices as funny. He begins to laugh. Short bursts develop into violent, uncontrollable spasms of insane joy. The voices lets his hands fall from his robes. The very flames that defined him as a shapeless being whip into a frenzy, consuming him as they burn. You hear a distant, incoherent chorus of screams in the back of your head, but as quickly as it rises, it fades to silence. The Archon of Secrets is extinguished before your eyes.
No! Not like this! We were so close!
Good riddance, asshole. Shouldn't have screwed with me and my sisters.
She kicks the smoldering pile of ashen rags.
So much knowledge was in that hive of a creature. If Narat weren't such a wanton monster, I'd almost shed a tear for his passing. Just think of how many tomes his minds could have filled. Though I suppose most of it would have been sketches of torture and fornication.
Is that thing finally dead? I'm actually asking, because it was difficult enough to tell that he was alive.
Right. On it.
Okay, we've maxed out all his lore abilities, so at this point it's, I guess we can improve his spellcasting speed. So we add him as Sage, recounting the deeds. Lantry orates the party's deeds, inspiring... Sure, why not? Return to Graven Ash. You've defeated the Archon of Secrets. Return to Graven Ash at Iron Hearth and inform him of your victory. Final Judgment. Speak with Tunon at his court. You've delivered the writ of execution and the Archon is dead. Return to the Bastard City as Tunon has requested. And never free. So we finished the task with Verse. I am going to take a minute here just to see if talking with Verse changes anything. Fatebinder. I never thought that anyone could get the jump on the voices of Narat. He outlasted most of his enemies and ate the others. He was this great bottomless thing. I just assumed that he would be around forever. And now he's dead. It's hard to believe, really. I'm happy, but he also gave me this life, this name. I hated him, but he was incredible. An artist. What I'm trying to say here is, I'm impressed. You've exceeded my low expectations. Do you think the Voices is really dead? If we're being honest with each other, I have my doubts. The Voices could scheme 1,000 steps ahead of anyone. I can only imagine that he had something planned for his death, some contingency. It could be so complex that we might never recognize it if we saw it. It might not even happen in our lifetimes, if we're lucky. I have questions for you.
What do you need? What did you have in mind?
What do you think of our present circumstances? Well, it falls to us to decide which of the Archons is fit to rule the tiers. I guess that means killing off the rest, getting them to bow, or bending the knee to yourself. I'd pick anything but that. Zigzagging around the tiers, pissing off authorities as we go? I suppose there are worse ways to occupy one's time.
On it.
Yeah, so on to Graven Ash first, and then we'll see where the rest goes. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay. So apparently Ironhearth doesn't go through the spires, which is a little surprising. It will take you 1 day, 16 hours, 45 minutes to complete your journey from Cacophony to Ironhearth. I'll definitely stop by the spire. I wonder what it takes to get this so you need a reputation change of very major strength to unlock this tier. I mean, we did help out. We did resolve things with his axe. I'm not quite sure what he was expecting. Fatebinder, I have work to do here. Speak with Ash if you need something.
I see no fresh blood on your armor, but I sense that something has happened. Where once many congregated, there is now an absence. That can mean only one thing. The voices of Nerat is no more. Can this be true?
Before he can go on, Ash's shoulders tremble and he clutches one arm to repress the shaking. He squeezes his eyes shut, only opening them again once his composure is restored. Are you well, Archon?
Well enough, damn you! Oh. Forgive me, Fatebinder.
His eyes widen as he realizes the magnitude of his outburst. He drags his hand across his mouth to clean away a line of spittle.
Suffice to say, this war has taken its toll on me, as have all the battles of centuries past. I have lost more friends and countrymen than any sane general could be expected to endure.
His grimace falls as he lacks the strength to maintain it.
I take each death personally, you understand. Down to the rank and file of my stone shields, the harm inflicted upon my northern sons and daughters. At times it seems visited upon me as well. But never mind an old man's ruminations. You have a report to make, and I am anxious to hear it.
He makes an effort to stand tall, but you know it's a facade that cloaks his waning strength. His eyes twitch as he recognizes your scrutiny. As well as you know anything, one fact is clear. Ash is in pain. I've destroyed the Archon of Secrets.
At last, the Scarlet Chorus are undone. We can properly conduct this war and subjugate the Tears as Kairos intended. That I can see this day, while the voices of Nerat grows cold. He would never forget this indignity.
We still have the matter of Kairos' decree. Only one Archon may rule the Tears.
Yes. I thought we would come to this. I had hoped to avoid the confrontation. Your service to my army has been exemplary, and I hate to lose a friend on the eve of victory.
This is looking familiar.
I knew you as Tunon's pupil, but now you are an Archon, and so much more. I would see you continue in your service to Kairos, but as my ally rather than my enemy. Bow in allegiance to me, and Kairos will be appeased. We can govern this lawless land together, and invite the savages into civilized custom.
The Tears aren't as savage as you think.
Clearly, the rigors of war have made you simple. The people of this realm can barely feed themselves, much less grow their culture in any meaningful way. We are their only salvation. They deserve nothing more than to be brought under our control.
You're wrong. Where you see conflict and contradiction, I see progress and growth. The Tears are becoming something unto themselves, and we can help.
There is no point to this line of speculation. The Tears will be consumed by the vaulted north, and the dominion of Kairos will be complete. And yet, your claim rings of thoughtfulness, Wisdom has tempered your perspective. This much I recognize.
Then join me. I can lead the Tears to a better fate than Kairos' peace.
What you propose is incredible, impossible. I am the general of the disfavored legion. I bent the knee once before, humbled myself to Kairos. I cannot do so again.
Submit. I have proven myself the true general, and your army is mine to command.
Yours? By what possible right? By what mad ambition do you challenge my...
The strength behind his words falters, and Ash goes silent. His brow creases, and the severity of his expression diminishes as he looks to the soldiers around you. The countrymen he proudly marched into war. He studies them each in turn, nodding as some unspoken truth is confirmed. Look to your troops, Ash. You are their father, but I am their commander.
I am not ignorant to the wisdom of your words. They pierce me like a lance through my heart, but there is truth. This conquest has opened old wounds. At times, I have not acted like the leader that my army deserved. I was an accomplished warlord in the earliest days of the Empire. There was no fortress I couldn't breach, no distance I couldn't march. But the years have reduced me. I cared too deeply for my legion to see them suffer. I lost nearly everyone for whom I cared, and suffered for those I sought to protect. I would not wish this for anyone. I submit to your authority as Archon and Master of the Disfavored. Where you lead, I go. Where you command, I follow.
A wise choice. The disfavored will see their honor restored under my rule.
Fatebinder, you have proven yourself a truer general than I ever was. I relinquish my hold over these women and men, and place them in your keeping. I ask only that you be good to them. They are far from home, and deserve treatment and leadership befitting their noble blood. I submit to you. As your Archon, I will obey your laws, carry out your orders, and protect whatever ways of life you see fit to impose on the Tears and beyond. You carry a heavy burden now. It is no small task to lead a legion. Their lives and their deaths are yours to bear.
He winces and sniffs back a tear.
At times, the strain was too much to bear, even for the likes of me. Devotion claims a heavy toll, and over the years it wore me down until...
He trails off, focusing on some point in the distance. Are you all right, Ash?
Fine, fine. Ignore an old man's wandering mind. You are yet young, with the world laid out before you. Your soldiers will look to you for guidance. You must be ready to take on any challenge on their behalf. Lead by example. Lead with the iron fist of the disfavored.
Our deeds will be known across all of Terratus.
The time has come to bring glory and triumph to this conquest. Go now, and bring order to what remains of the Tears. I will stay behind with the army, training and preparing to carry out your will.
I can hardly believe it. You are the great general now. I will adore Ash to my dying day, but I never expected to see him bend the knee. Barrack nods at you with great respect. A gang of your very own to order around. That's damn impressive, even if you consider they're a bunch of ironclad northern crybabies. Give me a fortnight and I'll whip them into shape. I'll make the disfavored proud.
Then I can pass on my authority with a lighter heart. Remember, Archon, it isn't enough to slay your foes by the thousands. You must always remember why you fight. Archon, you honor us with your presence, and you have brought our Beric back to us.
The honor is mine, Archon.
What returns you to Iron Hearth?
Release Beric from your aegis.
I cannot simply draw a sigil and rescind my protection. His connection to the disfavored and to me would have to be terminated.
I'm promoting Beric to command my forces.
You... What, Archon?
I was not aware that you have forces requiring leadership. Aside from the disfavored, of course.
It will require more than the disfavored to rule and defend the tiers.
A valid point. Though each disfavored stands the equal of 100 tiersmen, they cannot be everywhere at once. Your new role will require you raise forces of your own, and I can think of few finer commanders for them than Beric.
General.
Soon you may wear that title yourself, son of Barakonin. See that you strive always to remain worthy of it.
Yes, sir.
A gasp issues from Beric's helm, and as its eye slits turn to you, a pained hiss follows.
The protection. I feel it lifting.
His tone mixes awe and melancholy.
We have done what you sought, Archon. I am truly free of graven ash, if such can be freedom called. Let us return to your smith.
Right.
Ash stands taller and regards you with a respectful bow. Archon, an honor as always. Alright, so Beric is no longer blessed by Graven Ash's protection, so your smith ally may now be able to remove his armor. Bring Beric to her. I just wish I remembered where that was.
My Lord Binder, you have something which requires my attention?
Beric salutes as he turns to greet you.
What can I do for you?
Okay, let's start at the Ocean Spire, and then... I can never remember. I might look this up. I feel like it might be the Shattered Bastion. Oh no, Secluded Forge. Alright, I'm still going to the Ocean Spire, though. What's the status of your research? I'm happy to say I've made great progress. He beams at you and exhales a welcome breath. Allow me to show you my findings. A small smithy rests on the outskirts of the city, overlooking a deep gorge. A plume of smoke rises from its chimney, marking its presence well before it comes into sight. Actually, I guess we'd have a training opportunity here. Look forward to returning to Iron Hearth. The sooner the better. She frowns and regards you with skepticism. Interested in sparring? My nerves are all knotted up just standing here. Could use a distraction. Sure, let's go. Okay. So Lantry and the Fatebinder have... I mean, really, we're going to be wanting the...
I trust all is well, my glory. What is it you need?
I don't think I have a lore trainer in here.
Beast Woman is happy. Likes when Fatebinder wins. Likes that Fatebinder slaughtered Alpha of Scarlet Chorus without mercy. Was vicious, cunning, Archon with many voices. Was Alpha of biggest pack. Means Alpha of Kills in Shadow is bigger, better, strongest. Will always win. Fatebinder wants Beast Woman?
A reek of unwashed feral animal, bloodied and battle-worn, swathes you like a wet blanket, and you breathe through your mouth to keep from retching. Had any good hunts lately?
Good, yep. And many more than 5.
The beast woman flexes and curls her claws in the air, the pitch blackness of them suddenly striking, a stark reminder of their power and their ability to kill.
Loped through strange-smelling graveyard of sage mystics and the light of new moon. Dug, but only found rat-gnawed human bones.
Alright, so the easier thing for me to do is just take a look at the infirmary is probably the best place to check first. Yep, so Euphira at the Dawning Spire. Have you come for training, Fatebinder? I'd like to train. All right.
I got it.
Encounter in the Stone Sea. You catch a hint of movement in the distance, little more than a shiver of shadow among the remnants of a village that clings to the edge of a pillar of stone. You remain far from both Halfgate and Cacophony, so it seems unlikely that settlers or soldiers lurk among the ruins. Perhaps scavengers, raiders, or a rogue pack of beastmen have made the crumbling buildings their home. Investigate further. Adobe homes, cracked by the Overlord's Edict of Stone and bleached by the sun, rest in a loose semicircle around where you imagine a well or square once stood. Instead, the land ends abruptly, demarcating a plunge of hundreds of feet into the shadowed depths below. From the windows of several, the house spills a faint violet light. Investigate further. You move quietly near one of the buildings, using it as cover to see within the next house, the near wall of which has conveniently collapsed. Within, you see a group of humans gathered around the shards of Azurlith, the pale purple crystals that appeared throughout the Stone Sea in the wake of Kairos' edict. As you get closer, you can see that they wear the bare minimum of clothing necessary to preserve their modesty, and their skin bears lines of light that shimmer purple against the darkness within the home. Investigate further. The people within the squat building seem wholly unaware of you, their attention entirely on a shrine of collected Azurlith shards that dominates the far corner. The lines of light on their skin seem to trace primitive runes which bear a distant semblance to the markings beastmen sometimes carve into their skin. The people chant quietly, invoking Cairn, the fallen Archon of Stone, to restore their lands and deliver them from suffering. Speak to them. You step into the open and hail the group, inspiring a commotion of startled cries and raised pitchforks. You offer open, empty palms and consider what to say to them. What are you doing here? One of the villagers, a lanky man with stringy hair, steps forward. You notice that his skin seems dry and dusty, cracked in some places like the parched earth of the stone sea. His eyes shimmer with violet light, but it may only be a reflection from the azurelith. We commune with the man of the mountain. He grants us boons and protects us from the cruelties of this place. He shall come to us in time to save us from the overlord's tyrannical yoke. The other villagers nod in agreement. You mind if I join you? Eyes wide with surprise, the villagers invite you into their circle. They paint your features with crushed crystal, and as you meditate on the quiet violet light, you feel a warmth spread from your bones into your skin. You leave the villagers behind, feeling hardened against the dangers of the tears. It's interesting that it says there's no edict in the Stone Sea, because obviously we kind of cursed the land. Fatebinder, I didn't really expect to see you again, what with everything. Essentia wipes her palms on her filthy robes. It's Archon now. Of course, Archon. Apologies. I hear strange things out of the Blade Grave. They say you and Graven Ash have come to an accord? I suspect I know why you're here. She glances at Barrick. Getting him out of that armor is no simple feat. It's a part of him now, fused into his muscle and skin. Anything that gets him out of it, well, it'll be akin to peeling him like a potato. The outside will come off, sure. It's going to take some of the good stuff with it. I've given it some thought, and I have a possible solution. I don't think you're going to care for it, though. Or who knows? Maybe it'll be your kind of thing. Thoughts, Barrick? Folding his arms, Barrick remains silent. I wonder if the metal has already protruded into the brain. Essentia peers up at Barrick, rising to the tips of her toes. I'm listening. Without Ash's protection, Barrick stands very little chance of surviving the removal of his armor. That said, I know of a ritual to ease the process. It requires a component with as much sympathetically in common with the individual as the armor. In a word, blood. Because of the iron in it. Precisely. Very good, Fatebinder. What is the purpose of this rite? They used it for taking malformed armor off the dead without further mangling the corpse. Only the disfavored are worthy of iron armor, and we bury our own with their arms. Then the Forgebound must be preparing for a time when one of those will no longer remains true. Go on. Unfortunately, given the connection of the alloy with the Overlord's Edict of Storm, the blood will need to come from a ruler, royal blood, enough to fill a tub. And what with Kairos' forces reaping the tears of rulers, it's a component in short supply. Will Archon blood serve? Perhaps in the case of Graven Ash or Tunon, given that Archon blood might have any number of other unknown properties, I'd be very, very hesitant to use it. I want to see Tarkus Eri. I just want to sort out who that is. Yeah. Tarkus Eri had noble blood, didn't she? If we can find her, a wise woman would have fled as far from Vendrian's well as her treacherous feet would carry her. His teeth grind together. Though were she wise, she never would have taken up arms against the Overlord in the first place. If you can find her and she shares blood with the royal house of Apex, that would work. A lot of ifs, though. What of the statue of Queen Lyceris at Edgering? How many gallons of her blood does she cry in a day? It's not a bad idea. Would it work? While I'm familiar with the statue, the sages wanted to pry into it, but the Vendrian Guard wouldn't let them anywhere near, save for those who fought in their ranks. Is it the bloody tears of a dead queen? A portent of blood to be spilled in defense of Apex? Improbably mineral-rich water? Given that the waters turned red when Kairos' forces invaded, they're likely a metaphysical, if tenuous, tie to the Overlord. It should work perfectly. If you can haul a barrel of the stuff out here, I should be able to release Barrack from his cage. Probably. That's actually kind of a neat circle to the whole story.
I got it.
Come at.
I'm assuming this is going to get very loud.
You got it.
I'm fine. I don't need that rib to scribe. At once.
I know my own strength. Will do.
Its wheels sunken into the mud, this cart stands abandoned, bereft of the rows of weapons that graced it when you first came to Vendrian's Well. So obviously we're going to try and go with a magic solution here, but... Okay, so Scourge wants ice. Fire. Okay.
Come at me, Brave.
As you come.
I will aid you.
That was the one I actually wanted to do.
Kid, you might learn something.
You got it.
Will do.
I'll hit you twice hard next time!
As you come out.
Can't do that.
Bleed out, you little... Oh, shit.
Little remains of the small Scarlet Chorus and disfavored camps that once claimed the clearing, save tattered tarps and the reek of old latrines.
Sorry, I can't. Can't do that.
We'll see what we can find here first. You see a very old, broken section of the wall. There is a rope hanging down that has recently been used to scale it.
See that?
A torrent of thick red blood pours from the hollow eyes of Queen Lycaris' likeness. Though out of immediate reach, you suspect you can find a way to access it. Leap the gap, barrack toss, or barrack bridge. No, leap the gap. With a running jump, you may be able to cross the chasm and reach the basin.
I got it.
Wait, so I could have avoided all this fighting? No, I couldn't have.
Can't do that.
They won't see me
Sorry,
coming.
I can't.
There might be some kind of hidden item here, but I don't know if it's worth
On the lookout.
doing the full scout for. Okay, back to the secluded forge. Encounter in the Stone Sea. You hear them before you see them. Around the curve of dusty stone ahead, two sets of voices raised against one another. You struggle to make out what they say, but the words reverberate down the ravines and echo along the walls, muddling against themselves. You feel confident that beastmen comprise one of the groups, humans the other. Investigate quietly. You crest a stone outcropping and peer down on the argument. A small pack of beastmen shout at a group of sages, nervous figures in soot-coated clothes. The quills tucked among their persons limp in the heat. The sages obstruct the distance between the stone stalkers and a small camp composed of a few ragged tents and several wooden crates. You're half surprised to see so many sages together after the combined destruction of the Edict of Fire and your own wrath at effigy. Approach openly. As you move towards the clamoring groups, one of the beast women falls silent, nose turning upwards, muscles rippling as she turns and glares directly at you, nostrils flaring even as eyes narrow into knife-sharp slits. Fangs appear beneath curled lips. "Prima Slayer!" she roars, the baritone rattling your ribs. Her packmates turn, and the pack begins to spread around you, stalking towards you. The sages glance towards one another, apparently forgotten. I can live with this. Okay, so it's not a fight yet. Stop squirming, human, unless mystic trespassers wish to die on Rib Splitter's claws. Explain presence. She sneers widely, her massive fangs yellowed and flecked with saliva. Explain why humans have been caught ferreting in Stone Stalker territory. Ferreting? The sage explodes, lurching forward in his outburst. Despite his obvious aversion to being near the beast woman, he quickly regains himself and stumbles several steps back. We're researching, beast woman. And last I checked, these lands belong to the Overlord, not you and not your kind. Humans call sniffing and digging. Stealing from beast woman leads research? She stalks forward and the sages shrink back. She snarls, claws out, a muscled mass of violence, fur, and anger. Does not matter. Stonestalkers will slaughter ferreting humans and researching humans same. We slice ribs of any who slink into tribe's territory. Spooked, the sage glances side to side, the whites of his eyes showing as he searches wildly for an escape. Fatebinder, help, please! You must help us! He waves frantically, trying to skirt around the slathering beast woman, but she steps into his path, stalking ever closer, pinning him in. Human. The word is a growled warning as you approach. Jerking her head in your direction, the beast woman takes a deep whiff, dark nostrils flared wide. Ribsplitter does not recognize human scent, but sees human walks uninvited upon Stonestalker lands. She fixes a predatory gaze upon the shaking sages, a skulking prey, just like sniveling sage, that wets loins when startled. Hey, K-Money, how you doing? Sniveling or not, you're speaking with a Fatebinder now, an officer of Tunon's courts. No mere prey for you, beast. She cocks her head at an angle, curious eyes roving across your body. Ribsplitter does not know human officers or things called courts. I can see that one called Fatebinder has flesh as soft as other humans. Perhaps Beastwoman's pack should tear Fatebinder to pieces along with cowardly sages. Did you not smell upon me the hundreds that bled and died by my hand? Ribsplitter's growls soften into a nervous rumbling of the chest. She glances at her packmates, who begin to snarl in alarm like cornered prey. A soft whine escapes the leader's lips, and the beast woman dips her head in submission. Fatebinder speaks fiercely. Ribsplitter can see that humans' words will be followed by blood and fang. Pack will not fight Fatebinder. Will listen, but cannot leave sages that defile Stonestalker lands. Her amber eyes watch you cautiously. What does Fatebinder want? Has human come to help? It's one of the things that I like. I'm kind of getting the impression. So I don't have a problem with the way the game works like this, but I'm kind of getting the impression in terms of where people say that they ran out of time/money to make this, because there's definitely a few things where you can see, I bet this was going to go a bit further. But one of the things that does seem to have either held through, or at the very least there was enough implemented to keep it going, is you definitely appreciate the this is just a question of like how your dialogue trees work, right? So I'm assuming that it would have been harder to take this out as opposed to finish it through, but there's definitely different attitudes that you want to take. And in the case of the beast woman, effectively every single time you can be very aggressive, it tends to work rather well for you. And it's a feature that I like. Again, you've heard probably 100 times now that I'm playing this as much to become acquainted with this style of game as I am for my own enjoyment. But it is one thing that I quite like. There's obviously don't need to tell you this, but for the benefit of the recording, there's the whole writing idea of having dialogue that is sort of unique to a character. It's, the idea of a voice is obviously a very, not vague, but a very broad concept, let's say. So, you can say that there is an author's voice, right? It's usually one of the things that tends to be rather good for marketing, right? The idea that a certain type of game comes from a certain set of creators is one of these things that we would probably call voice. But even in the case of like a screenplay or something like that, being able to distinguish the characters, sometimes even just by looking at the dialogue without necessarily looking at the label above it. But of course, what's fun about this one is because the game can sort of dole out these rewards and sort of punishments, right? In the case of the movie, I only ever get to see how the screenwriter put together this character. Whereas in the case of a game like this, if I wind up trying to be the peacemaker, and I try to talk my way out of it, potentially the game is going to communicate that I am not speaking the language of the people that I'm interacting with. And in this case, I quite like the way that they've given me enough that it feels quite sensible to do a more aggressive reply than I would in other cases. First, I want to know what's going on here. These territorial brutes are attacking us. Injustice! That's what's happening here, Fatebinder. Don't just... The beast woman stabs him with a feral glare, and he stutters over his next words. Stand there? Stop them! Humans are trespassing in tribe's territory. Think to furrow sacred ancestors' lands. Think to thieve from beast women. So Ribsplitter will savage Sage Mystic to pieces. Will feed Stoneland's fresh mystic blood, with help from Fatebinder. Her massive maw split into a sharp-fanged grin, a promise of violence. Fatebinder need only bark order, and Ribsplitter will strike. Leave the sages alone. They haven't caused any harm. Finally, someone with common sense. Thank you, Fatebinder. Surely we are indebted to you for your kindness this day. The beast woman snarls and gnashes her teeth, ired by your decision. For a moment, she gauges you with wild eyes, verging on an attack, but whatever she sees bridles her, and slowly she settles into a low crouch instead. Alpha has decided, and as 100 Blood has demanded, Beastwoman will listen. Viciously, she turns on the sages and growls that they are free to flee. Do not let Ribsplitter catch scent of sages so soon in the Stonelands again, or Beastwoman will not hold back. She glances to you one final time, a smugness set in her snout, despite what Fatebinder wishes. I'm also a big fan of the Lieutenant mini-boss able to be intimidated if you choose to straight up murder your way to the objective. Like, yes! You've collected tears of royal blood. The tears of royal blood from the statue of at the Edgering Ruins. Return them to the smith so that she may free Barrack. Remnants of an old azure city can be seen jutting out of the rock walls down below, nearly obscured by the darkness of the chasm. Scavengers and scholars alike brave these treacherous depths in search of the riches of the once powerful kingdom. I'm not sure how you did it, but you have our deepest gratitude, Fatebinder. We'll be on our way shortly. We'll be more careful next time. Apparently we're taking the long way. Actually, I've never heard of the mini-boss referred to as a lieutenant. I like that. I'm sure that's a standard term, but I'm definitely gonna steal that for the future. Welcome back, Archon. I do believe I espy a barrel of Queen's blood. Lycentia looks you up and down, frowning with a mixture of interest and distaste. She helps you roll the barrel into the workshop, and the two of you dump the noisome liquid into a large copper tub. All right, Barrack, into the wet. Trundling over the basin, Barrack places a hand on its lip. He flops heavily into the vat without a word and lies there motionless. Here goes everything, Lycentia mutters and traces a series of luminescent sigils in the air as she circles the tubs. The hairs on your arms and the back of your neck slowly rise. The vat begins to bubble, and metal grinds against metal as Barrack releases a prolonged hiss. The smith puts a hand to one of Barrack's sharp spines and slowly draws it from him as if pulling a blade from its sheath. You barely make out Barrack's pained grunt under the workshop's myriad sounds. The shard comes free, with bloody strands of flesh dangling from it. There's so many. So you can take Barrack's hand. Subterfuge. This is just one more battle, son of Barraconan. Stand strong, soldier. Athletics. Suck it up, Barrick. We've just started. You think this mewling would impress Ash? Or do nothing? This is just one more battle, son of Barraconin. Stand strong, soldier. You can barely perceive Barrick's nod, but his shoulders square visibly. Foam-crested red liquid sluices between the gaps in Barrick's armor, darkening as the grime and filth from his carapace mixes with the blood of Queen and Stone Shield alike. He shudders, his left gauntlet clamped tight over the space left by one of Licentia's past excisions. Chanting, the smith places a chisel to the side of Barrick's helm and knocks on it 3 times with a hammer. Each blow resounds more loudly than the last, and the third is accompanied with a sound like a blade slicing into armor. She places both hands on one of the metal spines crowning Barrick's head and begins to pull. He screams. The procedure finally reaches its conclusion, and Licentia slumps against the wall, hair tangled and sweat-soaked, hands with face red with gore. She releases a long, shuddering sigh as the energy in the room slowly dissipates. Clad in only his small clothes and a thick patina of blood and grime, Barrick stands before you. Heavy ropes of matted hair hang before his broken face, and long, twisting scars mar his limbs and torso. He reeks of sweat and feces, the stench coalescing with the heady smell of gore and iron into a noxious whole. Your stomach turns. You okay, Barrick? I should maybe explain too, Kayman, I'm sure for anybody who's coming in here a little bit later, Barrick has been with us encased in his armor from one of the edicts before for the entire game. And one of the twists I really liked out of this was that our Archon, Tunon, made a decree that nobody was to remove Barrick's armor. And of course, this plays to the stereotype or the assumption that you would make that he's just a particularly harsh and rigid enforcer of Kairos's law. But the better reading of it, once you make a bit of progress in the game, is that he actually has a better understanding of what's happened to Barrick than anyone else. And it turns out that the combination of the edict and Graven Ash's protection, his Archon's ability to heal his soldiers at a distance, has meant that effectively all of the pieces of metal that had attached to him as part of the Edict of Storms are effectively becoming indistinguishable from his flesh. So it was impossible for him to... it's about as possible for him to remove the armor as it is possible for us to remove our skin. Like, mechanically possible, but it's not an outcome that anyone would wish. And so through the course of this, we've released him from Graven Ash's protection, but that carries with it its own set of implications, that you now have someone who is maybe not literally fused with his armor, but the armor is still on him, and you need to get rid of it, but you no longer have the healing of Graven Ash's protection. So a really grim little scene, but I like where this is going. So, you okay, Barrick? The pain will fade in time, perhaps more time than I'm accustomed to, though. He smiles faintly.
Freedom feels raw and cold, but comfortable.
Welcome back to the life of the free, you walking pile of... I'll have to dream up some new names for you, won't I? Anyway, put some pants on. I'm tired of looking at your... everything.
Now, I can actually draft your official portrait for the Chronicle. You have no idea how much this omission has haunted me.
I hate to cut this short, but I'm dead on my feet, and there's one last thing we need to settle. Her eyes meet yours. I'm keeping the alloy we pulled off him. In exchange, I took the liberty of forging the sample you brought me before into an axe. I hope it is worthy of you. She pulls a long-hafted, bearded axe from the wall and proffers it to you. Its head glimmers in the wan light of the forge. I think not that... No. Thank you, Licentiate, for everything. It was my honor, Archon. She places the axe into your hands. It bristles with energy, a spark leaping from its curved blade. I'd wish you safe journeys if I thought it would do any good, so try to stay alive out there. Check on Barrick at the Mountain Spire. You finally separated Barrick from his armor. Speak with him at the Mountain Spire to find out how he is adjusting to his life as a free man. Well, let's also get him some armor, for heaven's sake. Okay, I don't know. So we've got Edict's Crescent, an exquisite axe. Not as good as Longclaw's Rage, though. But it is an artifact.
I'll just hold on to this.
We probably should get him a shave. Alright, now he's been the tank, so this is going to be one of the few characters that I actually can put into the heavy armor. I just kind of wanted to go for the first that I could find. Weirdly enough, though, it feels like the light leather vest is almost better. I think we'll stick with what we've got here. Bronze bracers. Actually, he can probably get the Weeping Whisper. Well, okay, the Weeping Whispers. I didn't know that they were light. So these are better for the total armor, it looks like. So we'll put those on. I need to spend some time working out exactly what I want with Barrick, but right now I'm just going to max the armor, and we'll worry about the rest later. Okay, so looks like in this case here, I'll switch out for the Unbroken Armor. The Iron Walker Armor. This is a trickier one because it does give me more for the total armor, but lower on the individuals. But I did say I was going to maximize for armor, so we'll start with that. And presumably, this would definitely be a case where I want to buy some alternatives. But yeah, I think I'm happy enough with this loadout. It looks very strange compared to before. This is going to take some getting used to. Let's go to the Ocean Spire first for research, and then to the Mountain Spire for the dialogue. What's the status of your research? I'm happy to say we've made great progress. He beams at you and exhales a welcome breath. Allow me to show you my findings. Did research something. Research potion recipe.
I've got it.
And this will be the chat with Barrick. Also possibly purchasing some items. The former stone shield stares mutely at his heavy hands. Mangy hair hangs over his face, and grime coats every visible inch of him.
Fate but... Archon?
He crosses his arms over his chest and frowns slightly, the gesture apparently unfamiliar in the absence of his carapace. Feeling any better?
Yes. The pain has faded significantly. The memory of it, however, I suspect that shall remain with me until I draw my last breath. General Ash pledged the disfavored to you. He gave me to your service, and now I masquerade as his equal. That will never be the case, of course. Even pledged to you, Graven Ash is an Archon. But beyond that, he is an ideal to strive towards. I find it difficult to conceive a better set of circumstances. I have you to thank for that. I would have thought, though, that I would feel different.
Something bothering you?
Perhaps. I am not well practiced in holding a mirror to my concerns. Perhaps you will find this ridiculous or ungrateful, but I had accustomed myself to my armor. It became a part of me, and not merely physically. Now I will again have to adjust.
Do you feel as if you're no longer special?
Special? No, of course not. At least, I do not think so.
Sorry, just 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I'm glad to have you here, Barrick.
Let us continue.
Barrick nods. String not found's my favorite achievement.
My Lord Binder, you have something which requires my attention?
Barrick salutes as he turns to greet you.
What can I do for you?
Wash, damn it! All right. Final judgment time. It will take you 1 day, 17 hours, 45 minutes to complete your journey from Mountain Spire, Vendrian's Well, to Tunon's Court.
Yes.
I guess it saved at the...
With that unpleasant business out of the way, we change course to another serious matter. One that puts into question your conduct as a member of Kairos' loyal followers. You have made quite a name for yourself, Fatebinder. Stories of your deeds have spread through the tiers, and all of them have reached this court. Some actions have consequences. We will see what your actions have wrought. The chaos you've sown everywhere is unacceptable. You cast yourself so far outside the established order, I cannot begin to catalog your misdeeds. For this, you have been deemed guilty and must be executed.
Am I not allowed to have a trial? Is that not the proper procedure?
The outcome is a foregone conclusion, Fatebinder. Your actions cannot be allowed to stand. But if you wish to make a mockery of this court, I will add it to your list of offenses.
I want to defend my actions.
Very well. If you insist we proceed, then we shall. You are on trial for transgressing on the Overlord's authority, breaking the laws of the Empire, bringing mayhem to an otherwise orderly conquest, and meddling in concerns that fell beyond your station. Our directive to bring Kairos' peace to the Tiers has suffered, and you will answer for the part you played.
If you don't mind, Adjudicator, we're on familiar terms with the Fatebinder here. Should any inconsistencies require our input, we will add our voices as testimony. She nods to Rogalus and then turns to you with an unreadable expression.
The court has inquiries into your conduct. I first call your travel companions to speak on your behalf as witnesses to your character or accomplices to your crimes. Who will speak on behalf of the Fatebinder? The Ironclad Commander will step forward, if indeed he has the strength to walk.
You want me to speak, Adjudicator? Barrick self-consciously straightens his shoulders and steps forward.
I've been treated with fairness and respect, as fine as anything the Legion ever gave me. The Fatebinder trusts my counsel. I've never seen a finer, more upstanding member of the court.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf? Scarlet Fury, you who sacrificed your old life for this one, step forward.
Me? As if the likes of me has any business speaking in a grand hall before the Archon. Why, I've murdered enough folk to stack their bodies up to the podium 10 times over. Your Honor, the Fatebinder and I get along like a couple of cats. We scratch here and there, but there's respect to be had. Sometimes I think we agree on too much, but can't fight everyone. I suppose I've had worse bosses, and I suppose I've had better friends. But this one's something special. I've killed for him, and I'll do it again.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf? Let the aged chronicler step forward.
If it may please the court, I will speak true. I have had the honor and privilege of shadowing the Archon. A dream come true for someone so eager to witness history in the unfolding. I can say, with conviction, I am following greatness.
And if required, I could produce my travelogue to back my claims. I have noted the good and the bad, and I think you'll find the Archon has been a force of order and balance. Exactly what you should want from a Fatebinder.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf?
Evidently not. The time has come for the Fatebinder to offer his testimony. I dispatched you to the Vellum Citadel to deliver Kairos' Edict of Fire to the School of Ink and Quill, a punishment for their archival of forbidden lore and failure to recognize the rightful authority of the Overlord. Yet you hesitated longer than necessary in its issuance, warning the sages and allowing them opportunity to perform a ritual that preserved much of their heretical knowledge. The Fatebinder's actions spared more lives than books, Archon. There was little that could be done in the few hours before the edict that came to pass, aside from fleeing with a handful of pages and the sandals on one's feet. The Overlord intended neither page nor flesh be spared, Sage. Enough, the Adjudicator rumbles, his gavel striking the floor. There shall be order as the Fatebinder answers this charge. So our options are, I wasn't told exactly when to issue it. I thought it left to my judgment. The Archon of Secrets claimed to have spies among the sages. He personally requested time for them to escape. As I had no strict deadline for delivering the edict, I honored his request, and the Vellum Citadel and the 1,000 tomes housed within were the edict's target. Even with warning, the sages could remove only a tiny fraction of them. The sages could be broken without consigning them all to death. Well, we will do the time-honored tradition of blaming the person we just executed. The Archon of Secrets claimed to have spies among the sages. He personally requested time for them to escape. As I had no strict deadline for delivering the edict, I honored his request. The adjudicator silently considers this. The request of an Archon could certainly buy a few hours reprieve from an edict if the circumstances warranted it. He nods slowly. You showed appropriate judgment in this situation, though I harbor suspicions of the Archon's motives for the entreaty. You resolved Kairos' Edict of Storms with a legal contrivance. What's more, you spared Stalwart's ruling bloodline, circumventing the edict's very purpose. Did you think the Overlord's fury was a riddle for you to unravel? This is an interesting one. Kairos didn't intend the edict to last forever. The edict was mine to break however I wished. The Overlord's will can be overcome by a legal loophole. Don't you see the implications? Kairos is fallible. No. We're on trial for not doing our job, not being in line with Kairos's law and order. So in this case, we want to, even though our intention is to maybe break out on our own, the matter before the court is loyalty to Kairos, so we're definitely angling our answers around that. Kairos didn't intend for the edict to last forever. No, indeed, but there were conditions to be met, and you cheated them. You subverted the Overlord's will to suit your own design. That cannot be tolerated. During the conflict against the sages, our forces secured a caravan and uncovered a veritable trove of forbidden texts the sages had smuggled out of their libraries. Rather than feed it to the pyre, you kept it for yourself, giving that which you deemed inoffensive to the voices of Nerat's lieutenants. He leaves that in the air for a long, quiet moment. The court charges that you possess forbidden knowledge. How do you answer? The knowledge I kept from the chorus wasn't forbidden. I just didn't want them to have it. I destroyed the forbidden tomes and earned favor with the chorus. Were these both not my duty? But I skimmed the tomes. Such was enough to know what I could. Such was enough to know that I could be trusted with. I'm inclined. There's one. Both of these I can say, but I'll say I destroyed the forbidden tomes and in favor of the chorus. Were these not both my duty? Perhaps you had used that favor to prevent. Had you used that favor to prevent the violence between the Archons, I would indulge this defense. Shadows coil up the length of the Archon staff. Instead, you ask me to believe that you did not retain the knowledge that you destroyed, and that you have not made your mind a repository of heretical writings. The darkness intensifies and then dissipates. I cannot. You entered the old walls, a clear violation of Kairos' law. How do you answer for this perversion of justice? Do you think yourself above the law? The transgression was necessary to complete my tasks. The law stood in the path of justice. The circumstances you describe have no precedent, but I trust your reasoning. Agents of my court are not immune to the law, but your position was an impossible one. At the city of Halfgate, you killed the garrison chorusman who lawfully claimed it. A dozen of Kairos' servants bloodied the streets in your wake. They attacked me and hence violated Kairos' peace. I defended myself appropriately. The adjudicator nods. I suspected as much. A pity you could not do so without eradicating Kairos' presence in the town. Ever since you arrived at the Tiers, you have proven stubbornly tight-lipped. Your speech is often stilled as if by some great terror or apprehension. Can you even answer for this anomaly, or are you too simple to manage it? I don't think this has been true, but In my dispensation of justice, I find it most useful to let others do the talking while I observe and allow them to incriminate themselves. That is a better justification than I had suspected. Thank you for satisfying my curiosity.
I have one final question, Fatebinder. You were brought to this campaign to adjudicate the disagreements between the two armies. After your arrival, matters quickly escalated into a civil war. Did you knowingly join the conquest of the Tears to sow discord in your wake, or were you merely a victim of circumstance?
There's a few, so whatever harm I've done, the Archons have committed 100-fold. I recognize the Archons' corruption from the start was only a matter of time before they turned on each other, and I was prepared for that eventuality. I joined this conquest for the glory of Kairos, but I'm less certain the Archons did for the same reason. Yeah, that's the one.
It's possible, even likely, that the Archons traveled south with their own agendas. I make no secret of the fact that the more worthy of the two would have inherited the Tears to rule as their domain under Kairos, and ambition got the better of them both. They were expected to conduct themselves in a professional manner, as were you.
Conduct aside, the fact that the Archon's corruption is an assumed fact speaks to the success of the Fatebinder's mission. I don't know how the rest of you, he glances towards the other Fatebinders, but I find that mildly encouraging.
I am finished with my line of questioning. Have you any closing remarks for the court?
So, though I have ever strived to bring peace and order to the Shattered Reason, I recognize that our work is an uphill battle and well worth the struggle. The years have shown me that war and conflict can change the face of the Tears. I am the hammer that pounds ore into workable shape. Kairos' peace is a lie. The Overlord holds dominion because we are ignorant to the alternatives. The better Overlord stands before you, ready to find justice as he sees fit. Oh man. I'm tempted to do this one because this strikes me as the Tunon recruitment option. Or I just wanted to say I don't recognize the court's authority to judge me. Thank me. Yeah, let's go for broke. I may have to reload off of this one, but Kairos' peace is a lie. The Overlord holds dominion because we are ignorant to the alternatives. The better Overlord stands before you, ready to define justice as he sees fit.
Were it anyone else standing in your place, I would condemn them as a traitor. I cannot deny that you have challenged many of the beliefs I once held to be unshakable. After weighing the charges, this court finds you innocent. Against all reason or expectation, I find you innocent. Your testimony was sufficient to justify your deeds, your self-appointed authority, and your undermining of Kairos' law. I can hardly believe it myself.
Tunon raises a trembling hand to his mask. Adjudicator, are you unwell? Romulus takes a cautious step. Leave him. I want to see how this plays out. Callio leans forward with interest.
Archon, your presentation in the court today has shaken many of my core beliefs. Things I held sacred under Kairos' law are now uncertain.
He looks at his gavel with a sense of bewilderment.
I once thought that Kairos was the sole overlord. The notion of rising to her echelon of power and influence wasn't a concept that existed for me, for anyone. You have proven her wrong. What's more, you understand justice and law better than she ever did. Better than even...
Upon his mask, the corners of his eyes crinkle as if in agony.
I am willing to accept you as my new sovereign, if you'll have me.
I accept. Together we will rewrite law and lay the groundwork for a new empire.
My gavel and my justice are yours. I will execute your laws as you draft them, show mercy as you see fit, and bring to ruin all who would reject you.
Silently, Bledden Mark seeps from the shadows. He glides forward, palming two black-bladed daggers as his eyes dart between you and Tunon.
Adjudicator, kid.
This is the first time we've heard him talk, by the way. He greets both of you with a curt nod before stating his claim.
Allow this blade to cut to the point. I have an objection, or two.
He twirls both daggers, fingers moving deftly in and out of shadow, the movement nearly hypnotic and wholly blurred, and all the while his brightly burning eyes bore into yours. Buddy, old pal of mine, what's the problem? Slowly he swivels his head side to side, staring at you with single-minded intensity. His muscles coil tightly. He is a black adder poising to strike. But then he sucks in a sharp breath, and the tension slithers from his body like a shadow retreating from the light.
Don't distract me while I'm on the job, kid. Look, it's not like I have a grudge against you. I just can't let you live on Kairos' orders. I'm sure you understand.
I can tell you've been waiting for this. And she told you this personally, did she?
Kairos has given me free reign of action to protect the Overlord's interests. The semantics are of little concern to her, though I admit they will greatly affect you.
It would appear the court headsman is determined to make his stand. Under normal circumstances, I would curb this behavior with a swift execution. However, we have long since abandoned normalcy. There will be a trial by combat then. Bledenmark's claim against your own. Justice will win out, and the will of the true Overlord will be evident for the living to witness. You may begin when ready, Archon.
I guess I've no choice then. Without further word or warning, the Archon of Shadow dissipates into darkness. The lights of the room flicker and dim as he surges forward in attack.
Your trial begins anew, Archon. Prepare to defend your title, your innocence, and your very life.
It's going to take a second here to delete some messages.
Come at me, grave me.
All right.
Sorry, I can't.
We ready for this?
My wisdom is finally catching up.
So I should take a look at his... Yeah. He doesn't have any...
I will aid you.
Good aim.
He hits hard.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
On it.
I'm on it.
Good aim.
So he's still focusing on the Fate Binder, which doesn't spark joy.
I will aid you.
Alright.
I will omit that from the record.
That was beneath me.
Heal the Fatebinder, please.
Don't you die on me!
That sucks. Thank you for the resubscription, Joshy Man. I wonder if it's possible to give the Fatebinder... Yeah. Although, in theory... I can put that in... Nope, slot can't be changed in combat. Fair enough. Oh.
Sorry.
Doing my best,
Can't
Joshy
do
Man.
that. At once.
Sure would be nice if my people actually attacked.
At once.
We could potentially lose the party here.
I did that. Nice. I'll be feeling that one.
Okay. It's a nice start, but...
I can't.
This pathing is gonna just drive me insane.
You
feel
got it.
my.
I don't think so. You got it. See that coming.
Hurts when I hit, doesn't it?
I'm on it.
The trick is to keep twisting.
Interesting.
Till you hear the snap. Good aim.
Are you afraid of death? Worm? I'll do it for the North. I'd have it no other way. Hey,
Oh, damn it.
Bleed out, you little shit. I'm on it. You got it.
Sorry, Josh, man, as you can see, some of the particulars of this game are driving me a little batty.
Count on it.
Funny thing is, in this case, I don't actually think I do enough damage to be able to finish this off. Because notice his health keeps coming back, right? So
I will aid you.
The trick is to keep twisting till you hear the snap.
I think that one hit both. I'm on it. me up when it's over.
All right. I think I'm gonna have to do the... Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the trial all over again. That is frustrating. Oh, that's nice. Okay, they knew this was a tough
Allow
fight.
this blade to cut. Don't look. It's not like I have a Kairos.
It would. There will be a Your
So losing the Fate Binder in particular is a tough one, just because he's got the kind of the resurrection abilities.
We have company.
Okay, that's more like it.
You got it.
I will aid you.
Trick is to keep.
I don't know about this one. Maybe we should just focus on the...
Twisting until you hear.
Not a problem, boss.
Consider it done.
So I'm sure you've noticed here the idea is... Oh, there is a second breath. Okay. Okay, I'm not really sure what that did or was supposed to do, but...
Let's do it, you and me.
As you command. I'll
Till
take
you
care of it.
hear the snap.
Right.
Count on it.
Good aim.
Need big heals for Barrick and Quick.
You got it. Squirrely bastard.
Our time together has not gone to waste.
Will do.
Yes, it is healing again.
I will aid you.
Trick is to keep twisting till.
You got
Hear
it.
the snap.
Here's cloth. Squirrel's best.
I will
Aren't
aid you. I will aid you.
Okay, he's low. Let's do death.
I don't think so.
Good work.
You got it.
Okay, we'll just rely on proximity then. At least as much as I can.
Consider it done.
I will aid you.
I'll take care of it.
Oh, how did I miss that?
If this is bugged,
Yes.
I'm gonna be disappointed. Is it? Oh, there we go. Would have been nice if it could have maybe signaled a little bit of what was going on there, but
Count on it.
Right. I got it.
I'm on it.
I'll take care of it.
Good aim.
I will aid.
That's one.
You got it.
Tricks to keep twisting.
we got him.
That's all you're here.
Golden glowing eyes wide with surprise, the Archon tumbles to the ground, coughing blood as dark as the shadows that billow and ebb around him. He clutches his shattered ribs and grins.
Look at you. The surprise of a lifetime.
Sorry, just bear with me 1 second here. Oh boy. I really wish Discord did not default. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how you all feel about this, but the idea of broadcasters with Discord channels that don't use everyone, which I already feel is not great, but actually make roles specifically to suppress everyone, actually makes me want to leave the server more than anything. Okay, dealt with. He gasps, drowning as his lungs fill with blood. The light in his eyes dims as his pupils seep blackness, expanding to fill the whole of his eyes. A look of meaning passes between you, his fingers digging into the ground.
Don't die too easily. Won't look good for me.
Why have I got Wrath with Tune on?
This brightness is blinding.
Master, if you'll join me upstairs, I will pledge fealty to you in the lawful manner.
No, that's the opposite of what I said, Joshy man. So the idea here, right, is that, so I mean, the fact that Discord has an everyone is an everyone that is not muted by default is annoying, but I can at least sort of justify it. But the idea here is that when you use suppress everyone, you are making you're making an indication about your preferences, right? You're saying that I don't want to be pinged when you just message blast the whole server. Now, people who own the server are the ones who will grant a, they'll grant the roles to people, right? It's not, I realize that you can say, hey, I want such and such a role, or you can volunteer for it. But the reality of the way that Discord manages things is that it's the person who owns the server that assigns the roles. And so as an effort to circumvent the everyone thing, there are Discord servers that will make a role that's assigned to everyone. And then when they get ready to go live, they just ping that role. And to me, that's like all that you're doing there is saying that you don't respect the choice I made in your server, and instead you're making me take that extra step. Actually, sorry, just give me a second. Rather than complain about it, I'm just going to leave. And one of the reasons for that is I just don't watch this channel that much. So just give me a second here. Yeah, I unfollowed that channel anyway, so. It is not you, Revived Snow. Did you? For those of you who don't know, Revived Snow is someone who I actually do want to know when they're going live. What were you playing lately? So I know I saw you doing Beat Saber, but I feel like you've done something since then and I just didn't watch. But anyways, Revived Snow is a fellow Canadian, is a VTuber, and does text-to-speech. So a really unique channel. I have a lot of fun hanging out there. And actually, I would say Revived Snow has been... Oh, actually, Revived Snow has been playing a lot of Warhammer 40k stuff. So as much... I like being silly, so when they go into like Darktide... or Space Marine 2, I'll be like, oh, it's just another Darktide, or like, did they just ripped off the setting from Darktide or whatever? But I actually don't know. Do you care for the Warhammer 40k setting, Revive Snow? Because I have found, this is like old, I think, but I found a parody cartoon of it, which had me in hysterics. So I will definitely be sure to share. But it might just be that you like playing the games. But anyways, for those of you that have not checked out Revive Snow, someone I found through Phantom Brigade, I believe, but just a wonderful Canadian broadcaster who I actually frequently will host at the end of an evening stream anyway, because they stream later than I do. Okay, let's get some people leveled up. Barrick, A powerful multi-hit attack that they... You know what? I'll do Art of the Blade too, but probably should have done Breaking the Wall. Tunon has requested you speak with him by his throne. He will offer his fealty to you. So let's just see the change in the loyalty here. So Scarlet Chorus, you killed the voices of Neurotic Cacophony. Okay, fair. No, they don't like me for that. Yeah, Unbroken don't like me. Sage's Guild don't like me. Bronze Brotherhood don't like me. Vendrian Guard don't like me. Forgebound like me, though. Stone Stalker definitely don't like me. Lethian's Crossing, it's complicated. Oh, that's funny. My long-standing hypothesis has been that Warhammer 40k is one of the longest-standing and best adaptations of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Tunon was pleased by your extensive interest in Kairos law and his execution of it. And negative wrath, you killed Bloodmark, Archon of Shadows, effectively on his orders, might I add.
Right.
Actually, you know what? Let's see what Callio and Rogulus have to say about this. Try and keep Ash on a short leash. I think the old man likes knowing his constraints, and no one sets limitations more efficiently than Kairos, but I think he'll manage. I have my doubts that the Voices of Nerat is dead. That just seems like something he would have planned for a long time ago. You sure you got the right Archon? Callio shrugs. What can I do for you? Callio touches a gentle hand to your shoulder. How do you think the court will fare without Blood and Mark? The court ought to learn the lesson that the Empire already knows. Everyone is replaceable. As long as we keep that in mind, I'm not so worried about the court. Her lips curl in a knowing smile. If you must hold on to Ash, keep him in line. Just remember that you are the third master to whom he's sworn life and fealty. Better for all our sakes that the Voices of Nerat left this world. I always thought Kairos used him to thin the herd, and that anyone in the hierarchy was fair game. Speculation, of course. You look as if you have questions for me to untangle. Ask. I'm feeling generous. How do you think the court will fare without Blood and Mark? Better than ever, I hope. Without the dependable aid of an unkillable assassin, I'm sure we'll stumble along the way. The court itself will have to be stronger if it expects to survive, and that sort of change is always welcome.
I've got it.
Yeah, not enough. By the way, how many of you have seen this mode? Oh crap. I did not mean to have this. I think we're stuck with big heads for this this sequence.
Archon, change has come to the Tears, and in time it will reach the Empire itself. You are the agent of that change, and even I could not have predicted what impossible heights you would reach. The time has come to take up the gavel and usher in a new age of structure and law to the Tears. You will henceforth define justice for the rest of us. I will follow your lead and endeavor to follow your design.
Your loyalty and confidence are appreciated.
As the ruling Archon of the Tears, I submit to your authority and thank you for bringing order out of chaos. Go and represent the strength of law. Be the example the Tears require, the force that keeps them together, and the hope for their future under one rule. Let your justice know no mercy but that which you impose. Civilization itself will bend according to your design. Never forget this. I am grateful to stand in your loyal service, Archon, but there is a shadow over these proceedings.
Tunon hesitates as he regards you, suddenly fearful.
Though you have proven yourself greater than the other Archons, Kairos is not satisfied. She sends a legion of expert soldiers marching on the tiers as we speak, their war songs calling for your death.
What would you recommend?
Power begets power. A demonstration aimed at Kairos herself would give her a reason to regroup and consider her options. It would have to be a display of incredible proportions.
An edict proclaimed on the Northern Empire should do the trick.
Yes. Destruction on that scale might serve your purpose. The North will tremble under your forceful hand. Return to the mountain spire and see your will given shape and consequence. Show Kairos the face of true power.
So, sorry about that. I did not intend for that to go through the... The armies of the North. It has come to your attention that the Empire has made good on Kairos' threat. Armies march from the north with only one goal, the utter annihilation of the tiers. Fortunately, you have the resonator at Vendrian's Well Spire at your disposal. With it, you have the power to issue an edict and disrupt the Northern Kingdom. The final victory may yet be yours. Return to your spire in Vendrian's Well. From there, you'll be able to issue an edict to repel the armies of the Northern Kingdom.
On it.
Compelled the adjudicator himself to kneel, did you? Rogulus grins. Impressive work. Last person who did that? Well, enough said. I don't know what's more impressive, that Tunon humbled himself before you, or that you managed to get so deep under his skin. I've tried baiting him into arguments in the past for my own amusement, but you've made an occupation out of it. What can I do for you? Nothing,
Yes.
just wanted to hear how awesome I am. It's only 15 minutes between spires, so I figured I might as well get the last research. Oh, crap. I think I need to load. Ah, fair enough. Okay, guys, I'm back. Now we're ready to fight Kairos.
Yes.
We've arrived at the Vendrian's Well Spire in the face of an incoming invasion of Kairos' forces. Use the resonator and determine your response. The waves of energy radiating from the spire draw you forward, pressing your body and mind to its eager embrace. At the center of this tide, the resonator stands ready to broadcast your voice, echoing your commandments to the furthest reaches of the tiers and beyond. From there, the highest point of, in all the peninsula, you could, with the sum total of your effort, project your will far north, past the edges of the tiers, and proclaim your edict as far as the lands of the Northern Empire. Relax for a moment. Ponder the situation. With your work here in the tiers all but complete, you take a deep breath of the cool, tranquil spire air and allow yourself a moment to think. By the letter of Kairos' orders, you have done all that is asked. You delivered the Edict of Execution and brought the Archons to heal as ordered. While you have the victory of the moment to savor, you find yourself wanting for answers. Only the Archons have met Kairos, and while you are now counted among these luminaries, the battlefield promotion was hardly the reveling initiation rite you had long imagined all Archons experience. Looking back on the events of the war, it seems implausible that this moment has caught Kairos entirely by surprise. Half a league beneath your feet sits Ascension Hall. Had the Edict of Execution not been stopped, the resulting deaths would have done the work of the Civil War and the culling call of the Archons. And had it not been you to resolve the Edict of Execution, who else? Would that person be standing where you now stand? You've made no secret of your loyalty to Kairos, and you smile at the realization that if the Overlord is indeed prescient, this victory was enabled by the will of Kairos. The question now lingers in your mind. Have you been placed in this position because Kairos expects you to be loyal, or because Kairos expects you to be contrary? Are those mutually exclusive? It can be no accident that the resolution of the Edict of Execution ordered someone to liberate the base of the Spire, and it can be no coincidence that the culling of the Archons and Civil War have brought about much of the carnage Kairos initially sought to inflict with that fateful edict. Any requests?
How could you ask such a thing? I can't possibly make such a far-reaching decision. I'm sorry you have more options than you have convictions.
Landry swats his quill at you as he switches to sepia ink. Can you turn everyone inside out, or make them piss rings? Damn it, I can't decide. You figure it out. I'll just be in the way. Beric studies you for a long pause. The Edict of Storms helped to craft the man I am today, for better or worse. This might be exactly what the Overlord's hierarchy needs. A little mischief to toughen them up. Beric, I'm impressed. Where did this rebellious streak come from? Let us say I've shared this campaign with some inspiring people of late. You big dumb softy, get out of here. I mean it. Leap off the fucking edge before you bring a tear to my eye. This probably amounts to a declaration of war against the Overlord. Ready? So this is it. We've come a long way since the Edgering ruins. Before this, I was nothing important. One Scarlet Chorus killer among thousands. We're really doing something here. Thanks for letting me tag along. She turns to the edge of the spire, avoiding your gaze. Opportunity. I can feel it like a coaxing breeze. Not since Graven Ash stood against Kairos has anyone made such a dent in the Overlord's defenses. It has been an honor serving at your side. Come what may, I'm ready to face it. Beric nods to you. This is new territory for us all. You're the first to strike a blow directly at the Overlord. Make sure it counts. Hope you don't mind if I stand back and take notes. By all means, continue. This will be an opening strike. Perhaps the Tiers will conquer the Northern Empire. The Spire awaits your command. Select the region to view its current edict or to issue a new one. I can't click any. Oh, is that the? Oh yeah, there we go. Northern Empire. Alright, we can do the Edict of Fire. The Edict of Fire brings the energy of fire to large regions of the world. This generates incredible heat, sometimes flame, as well as strengthening the powers of magic. The Edict of Malediction. The Edict of Malediction will twist the strands of fate, causing misfortune and bad luck to plague your enemies. The Edict of Stone. The Edict of Stone leeches magical energy from the sky and living creatures, storing it in the rocks below. This energy can lead to earthquakes and the slow petrification of the living, or the Edict of Storms. The Edict of Storms will generate a massive storm that covers huge areas of the world. The chaotic energy unleashed will cause random damage to strike your enemies during combat. I think, as much as I want the Edict of Storms to be my signature skill, I feel the Edict of Fire is the first one that that Kairos had me proclaim, so it feels like this is a bigger signature. The Edict of Flame brings the energy of fire to large regions of the world. This generates incredible heat, sometimes flame, as well as strengthening the powers of magic.
The Tears have been conquered, unified at last under a single banner. Your edict brings devastation and ruin to the Northern Empire. Some believe the edict to be Kairos' work. Others hope, or fear, that this edict comes from a new voice. Kairos' forces withdraw from their march upon the Tears, as they are sent into disarray by your edict. You have brought order to the Tears, uniting the realms with the disfavored Legion, enforcing your will. The Overlord's conquest of the known world has come to a halt, and the whisper of a challenger to Kairos' power slowly spreads throughout the land.
Your Edict of Fire ignites an unstoppable conflagration in the northern capital, reducing buildings to cinders and sending walls of fire through populated streets. Before anyone knew what was happening, the flames had already burned out of control. All who suffer cry out in agony and confusion that Kairos would allow such a fate to befall the city. As chaos ensued in the Northern Kingdom, the armies marching on the Tears received an unprecedented order. The armies were to fall back to the capital and ensure the safety of its people from the edict. For the first time in Kairos' great conquest, the armies retreated. Soon questions would be asked in hushed breath across the lands about what new and terrible power had emerged that could force the hand of the Overlord. You fulfilled Kairos' decree, and all the Tears is now ruled by a single Archon. Your former rivals have either submitted to you or perished, bringing the civil war to a close. The Scarlet Chorus may have been mighty in numbers, but that didn't stop you from thoroughly scattering them, cutting off the Serpent's head and sending each of the gangs howling back to the chaos they sowed. How the remnants of the Horde occupy themselves without a war to fight becomes a topic for nightmares. It was thought the disfavored would never rally under another general, but by enlisting Graven Ash to your cause, you managed the next best thing, controlling the Archon to harness the strength of the Northern Empire. You reorganized their old-fashioned regiments with a new chain of command, placing yourself as its highest authority. The Legion's victories spread beyond count, and your soldiers train hard, preparing for the retaliation to come. Under your guidance, those who resisted the conquest and sowed discontent are vanquished, the rebellion brought to a decisive end. Any lingering question of who is the true ruler of the Tears is answered by your impact on the reconstructed nation. Word of your success spreads beyond the Tears as well. Even the most distant corners of the Empire whisper of the Fatebinder who rose to become an Archon, and an Archon whose intervention shattered the conquest, making way for a new future in the devastated nation. Uniting the Tears under the banner of the Disfavored was never your directive, and yet you performed it admirably, consolidating the Overlord's forces under your rule and grooming the Tears for their place in a new order. The same people who once hurled curses across a siege soon learned to think of themselves as part of a greater whole, extending beyond their modest borders. While with the Edict of Stone dispelled, the earth around the Stone Sea finally settles, leading everyone to believe the realm of Azure will return to its former glory, but the ritual used to end the edict blighted the land to such a degree that nothing will grow. No matter how hard anyone tries, with determination some are able to start small seedlings, but nothing ever comes of it. The memory of Cairn as a great force of destruction remains as a monument of inert rock. Most agree that the world is better off without the Archon of Stone as the people of Azure begin to slowly reclaim the land that was once torn asunder by his power. The strongest and oldest of their kind, the death of the Stonestalkers is a blow to the Beastman culture. Their demise also brings centuries of oral traditions to an abrupt end. The local tribes never recover from the terrible loss. With Cairn's essence preserved and the lands of Azure permanently blighted, the Earthshakers return to the Disfavored. While their reputation isn't what it used to be, their success in dealing such a decisive blow to the Scarlet Chorus by removing their main source of food has earned back the respect of the Legion. The Earthshakers are accepted back into the ranks of the Disfavored, once again becoming part of the army that helped subdue the Tears. With the Unbroken all but destroyed, the former citizens of Stalwart threatened to slide into lawlessness. Kairos' forces stationed at Sentinel Stand managed to quell the worst of the uprisings, but peace under the nation's new leadership is resisted at every turn. Amelia returns to Graven Ash's fort at Iron Hearth with her baby, the former heir of Stalwart. Her presence brings unease to the Disfavored, who don't know what to make of a circumstantial traitor. How she navigates the future you imposed on Terratus will be her decision. Though it takes time to recover from the devastation of the Edict of Storms, the Bladegrave begins its slow march towards healing. The realm of Stalwart may never resemble its former glory, but the land is not so blasted that something new and better can't be built atop the bones of the past. The Regent bloodline has ended. With it, new traditions and legacies spring to life. You eliminated the Scarlet Chorus that plagued the Disfavored troops in the Vellum Citadel, cutting a path through them all the way to the Silent Archive. Instead of destroying it as Graven Ash wanted, you chose to keep it for yourself, realizing the knowledge contained in the scroll was far more useful in your hands. By taking the Silent Archive from its pedestal and disrupting the preservation spell holding the Vellum Citadel in stasis, you caused the collapse of the single largest repository of knowledge in Terratus. The world may never know the true extent of the loss. The sages are all but wiped from the Tears. What remains of their hoarded knowledge is vulnerable, as likely to be misused as destroyed. The damage done to the intellectual core of the region is likely beyond reversal. Though small groups of would-be scholars gain influence from time to time, the setback is ultimately too vast to overcome. Without your help, the small garrison of Kairos' forces is easily overwhelmed by the Bronze Brotherhood. I thought I did help. Who are intent on taking the settlement back. It flounders under the control of the Bronze Brotherhood, and what was once a thriving center of commerce for the Tears quickly devolves into a lawless town prowled by mercenaries and thugs. Reef Talon's attempts to play doting mother to the Wound community prove ineffectual. She tries to establish a sense of discipline and hard work, but her self-doubt sabotages her methods. She never overcomes the suspicions of the rest of the Wound. As Wound denizens abandon their patrols or listlessly perform their chores, life in the settlement deteriorates. Bane attacks become more common, and people begin to leave. Jaspos and Wagstaff finally find common cause, critiquing Reef Talon's leadership. Far from uniting them, however, it only further polarizes the settlement, each of the mages moving once again to solidify a base of power from which to claim authority. By enacting an edict on Vendrian's Well, you announced your power to the world and showed Kairos' forces what you were capable of. When you defeated their leader and scattered the army before you, it sent a message to Kairos. A new Archon is born. While the edict dissipated, its effect will always be felt as the first true threat to Kairos' rule. Graven Ash continues to lead the Disfavored. this time bowing to your superior command. At first, the old general balks at your instructions, but in time he grows to trust your judgment without question. Working together, you bring much-needed order to the lawless tiers. Killing the voices of Nerat spreads the joy of bloody vengeance across the continent. Celebrated as the death of history's greatest parasite, the occasion is marked by all who suffered under the oppression of the Scarlet Chorus. Even in victory, one thought nags at you. Though you witnessed his death, you can't help but wonder if the voices of Nerat is done with you. Hello, Vanguard Master. I saw Wayne talk the other day. I know you two are on, you probably have each other on Discord. Tunon the Adjudicator continues to dispense justice from his seat in the Bastard City. He follows the laws you craft to the letter, advising on any of the meticulous changes you lack the time or the patience to draft. Without his aid, the task of keeping order in the tiers would be nigh impossible. The death of Bled and Mark deprived the world of a most capable murderer. One less bedtime story to scare children is no significant loss, though you can't help but glance at the dark corners of every room and feel as if something is watching you. Bled and Mark will always cast a long shadow on your life. You may have released Barrick from his twisted shell of bronze and armor, but you will never free him of his debasement, nor does he make any attempts to liberate himself from you. At times you wonder if it was truly the armor that kept him filthy at all, or if it was merely an excuse he clung to for his regression. Angry and morose, Barrick brutally vents his frustrations on the troops in his charge, quickly becoming the most feared and loathed of all your drill masters. Barrick sometimes disappears for weeks without warning, always returning more morose and muck-covered than when he left. The spy you send to track him on one of these excursions reports that he wanders the path of the conquest, laying to proper rest his fallen disfavored comrades. It seems an impossibly large task for the lifetime of a lone man, even one who so desperately seeks atonement. Though freed from his twisted shell of bronze and iron, Barrick seems a little less morose. He moves forward from the Edict of Storms only haltingly, attention half turned ahead towards an uncertain future, and half behind the choices that brought him here. The Northerner remains dedicated to the oaths he has sworn to you, drilling your forces and commanding them on the field. If he isn't exactly loved by your troops, he at least holds their respect. In the rare times of calm, he takes leaves of absence from your service, scouring the Blade Grave for the fallen sons and daughters of the Northern Empire and laying them to a proper rest. Though the somber task seems one beyond the meager lifespan allotted a soldier, Barrick returns from each of these excursions standing just a little more upright. This has got to be a bug, because these are like two contradictory endings for Barrick. I wouldn't be surprised if I get to see a second ending for Verse here as well. In the absence of the voices of Nerat and the need to avenge her fallen sisters, Verse discovers something akin to contentment. For a time, you find her high atop your spire, face turned towards the horizon with eyes closed against the wind that ruffles the feathers in her hair. It doesn't last. Verse disappears from your service without a farewell. When she returns months later, she is trailed by a disparate gang of young women recruited from every corner of the tiers. Farmers, merchants, and former nobles hungry for greatness, all pledged to study the bloody lessons Verse has to impart. Her new callous sisterhood grows slowly compared to the chorus, but each member makes of violence a mesmerizing dance. Soon Verse and her cadre become the most feared of your enforcers, achieving notoriety almost akin to that of Blood and Marks. Oh no, okay, fair enough. So maybe that isn't one of the bad ones. As surely as you liberated Lantry from the depravities of the Scarlet Chorus, you unshackled him from the weight of history. No longer fixated on the preservation of the work of the sages, the scribe instead sets himself to recording the present with renewed vigor, becoming your most persistent biographer, even if some describe his work as more propaganda than history. Lantry increasingly turns to scavenging lesser pages of the Chronicle for writing material, making of the sages' histories palimpsests of your rising glory, and your inevitable confrontation with the Overlord. If Lantry's scrutiny sometimes discomforts you, his predictions for the future, deduced with the experienced eye of a student of history, rob you of more than one night's sleep. Ebb remains in your company, where she seeks out promising recruits among your supporters. After recognizing some obvious talent, she takes on a team of apprentices in a new school of would-be tidecasters. Though she often jokes that the school is bound to fail with her at the helm, her students think otherwise, as do many dozens of hopefuls who come begging for her tutelage. With no desire to remain in the company of humans, Kills and Shadow returns to the wilderness and seeks out her own kind. She discovers a haggard community of beastmen who abandoned the realms of Haven and Azure, only to be enslaved by Kairos' forces. Out of this rabble of defectors, she forges a tribe, their nomadic ways respecting no established border or law. They raid villages and caravans where possible, glutting on the spoils and boasting of their severed ties with the human world. Though a large bounty follows in the tribe's wake, no human can survive the hunt for its leader. Without the threat of the Overlord's control, Siren struggles with how to manage her freedom. Inspiration finally strikes her, and she travels the tiers, visiting the small villages ravaged by Kairos' occupation. She sings to the frightened and hurt villagers, buoying their spirits and allaying their fears. Guilt for her hand in the horrors wrought upon the world by the Scarlet Chorus spur her on, and her wonders become more and more spectacular. The followers of the Songbird grow in number, taking the message of peace and harmony through Terratus. Though you once professed loyalty to Kairos, popular belief holds that the world cannot support two overlords, and that you now represent a threat to the established order. This leaves your future in question, but with one certainty, when Kairos retaliates, you will be ready. From your perch atop the ancient spire, you see hints of the Northern Empire just beyond the mountains. At your command, horns shout a triumphant cry across the valley, heralding the end of one long campaign and the beginning of another. Alright, there you go. So, I am curious what all of you thought of this. I don't share like the rushed assessment, although I definitely got the impression that there were a couple of things where it's like, okay, yeah, this clearly didn't, I don't know, there's a couple of points where I'm sort of like, okay, it sort of feels like this maybe wasn't fully thought through. So like the two contradictory barrack endings, for instance. And I imagine that probably a long sort of text ending is like, okay, we had bigger plans for this, but we needed to move back. But like, the thing is that the only reason why that's in my head is because of the complaints. I would say I can imagine some of the ideas in the game, I can sort of imagine seeing expanded in a bigger way. I wouldn't necessarily, like, I wouldn't give this, 100%, like 10 out of 10 marks or something like that. But, I don't know. I'm definitely not unhappy with how this went. I'm actually really happy that I didn't just do this game, but that I went sort of, I'm really happy that I actually went all the way through this. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay. Tim Kaine, is that this? I wonder if that's the same Tim Kaine of, I think, Fallout fame? Yeah, I don't know. If they were to announce a follow-up to this, or if they, if I had learned that there's like a deluxe edition of this where they're adding more material, I think I probably would have, I would probably try this again. I will confess, I felt like I made the best decisions I could in the circumstances, and hearing some of these endings makes me feel like maybe there were there may have been, I don't know, like alternatives that weren't clear to me. So like it seems like the only option was to blight the landscape of when getting rid of Cairn. And likewise, in terms of Bastard's Wound actually definitely felt like something that was sort of tacked on, and its ending, like, I don't know, there's something about the ending where it's like, okay, you did a bunch of difficult things. Oh, and by the way, it actually all falls apart at the end. That doesn't feel particularly satisfying, although, I don't necessarily feel that it has to be completely, like everything has to be nicely tied up and uncomplicated. Like, this is a game where you're sort of playing a conquering power, evil's won. Everything doesn't have to be like a nice ending, let's say. I will say, I do like the idea of sort of, and again, this is one of these things that might have been more interesting to see developed a little bit further. This idea that you're brought in as this conquering force with Kairos's army, and you're not necessarily the good alternative, right? You are a rival to the Overlord's power, but that doesn't necessarily mean that life has gotten better in the tiers. I kind of hope it has, right? The effort has been one of order, and there's more discussions of sort of unity than others, although certainly some regions are going to be doing better than others in the tiers. But the other version that you can imagine of this, right, would be the 1984 world, in which you have these large powers, with their own. I mean, they don't call them overlords in the book, but that there is a version that you can tell of this story where it's just two tyrannical powers that have these societies effectively built for war with each other that will never end. So that's that is one potential way that it can go. And as much as I could, I wanted to move away from that. I was a little, when I said any requests, I was a little annoyed that Lantry's loyalty sort of pushed away. I don't know. It felt like kind of a fun twist to bring in, but it wasn't. I don't know. Like, sometimes I think feeling like you've been penalized for an interesting choice doesn't always feel good, but that wasn't like a major complaint. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm sort of scrambling for things to say, which doesn't quite do the game justice. I'll maybe say for my part, so this is a style of game that I've had difficulty getting into. I think that's it. I'm wondering if it's a big cycle through again or not. So yeah, I've definitely struggled. I've definitely struggled to get into this kind of game in the past. Actually, I think this is the first sort of CRPG of this style that I've actually seen through to the end. So I think it's kind of special for that. And I'm glad that I did it. I will actually say that I'm willing to even try a couple of the other, a few of the others in this style, although I do have a feeling that sort of the Baldur's Gate or Divinity Original Sin style might be a little bit closer to my taste. Now I am curious whether or not anybody has any preferences in terms of, games in this style or in this ballpark, whether or not those would be of any interest to the audience. I'm definitely at a point where I'll be considering a new game. I do want to finish Cyberpunk. and I do have a couple of ideas of things that I want to try out. But I would definitely say that this has opened the door to me to doing more CRPGs, and that could include some of the older ones like Planescape Torment, or some of the newer ones like I was talking about there, like Divinity Original Sin or Baldur's Gate 3. I definitely have some clear ideas for myself in terms of what I want to do, but I also kind of question whether or not it's a good idea for me to try and do a big dedicated one like this, or to try something different in between. I think I have an idea in terms of what I'll be doing next, but again, it's kind of up to people's tastes. But yeah, it actually also turned out reasonably well for time, because we're at time for the stream, so if no one has anything else to say, I'll maybe try and find someone to host tonight. Sorry to leave you with limited music, but who do we have? You know what? We have got Will Shand. So I will host him again. So just a reminder for everyone here, and I think I did shout out Revive Snow before, but for those of you not following Revive Snow, please do so. I'm just going to give a quick reminder for folks when I'm in terms of next week. So I will go on Monday. It's Thanksgiving, so normally I like to take Canadian holidays for myself, and then next Wednesday is also the local game dev meetup. So in this case, seems to be the way with Canadian holidays, the week of the meetup is also the week where there is a holiday as well. So I will be back next Friday. And so at that point, I think Cyberpunk is the next one on the list. But I am between games now. If there's something you want to see, let me know through whatever channels you find appropriate. But I am going to enjoy the rest of my evening, and also relieve myself of this coffee that I had at the start of the stream. So have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving to the Canadians, and I will see the rest of you a week from now. Take care.